Hello and welcome. Thank you to everybody for joining us today. And Mike, thank you for such a great introduction. Just quickly before we start our session, as Mike said, I am very proud to hold the position as the FESPA Textile Ambassador. I have spent my entire life in the textile industry, a career that has taken me on a journey from analog all the way through to digital production and on to where we are today, at a tipping point as our industry accelerates towards a digital future. Our expert panel today hold the same legacy, and in total we amass over 100 years of combined experience and a lifelong love of print. It is my pleasure to introduce you today to Anthony Attard, OBE and the chairman of PANAS, Stephen Thomas, the MD of Standfast and Barracks, Magnus Miggle, MD of RA Smart, and of course, last but not least, we have Denise Lam of Lang and 360 Decor. Today, we're going to discuss market trends and opportunities and the key drivers for change in the interior decor sector. We have a number of questions for all of our expert panel today, but before we do, I'd like to ask each of our guests to share a brief introduction to your business, products and services. So could we start with Anthony, please?
Hi, good morning. Yes, my name's Tony Attard. I've been involved in the textile industry now for some years. And it's funny, actually, I was having a meeting with Stephen earlier from Standfast, and I said that I started my career in 1980 with Courtaulds and used to sleep on cotton bales at his factory while I was waiting for shows on VAT printing and new collections. So it goes back a long way. And I've enjoyed a fantastic career, really enjoyed myself in the textile industry. It's been an incredibly absorbing industry. And of course, since I graduated in 1980, I've seen so many changes. And it's quite staggering, actually, how things have changed. And certainly at PANAS, we've embraced those changes over the years for a number of reasons. I've always loved print because of the versatility and what we've been able to achieve with color. And we were one of the first companies in the UK, well, certainly probably in the world actually, to move from wet printing to dry printing, primarily because we saw the benefits of sustainability and the environment even then. And of course, we had a brand new business because I started in 1987, and we started with a blank sheet of paper, so we could start with brand new technology. Um, PANAS is a company which is involved in the manufacture of contract textiles for the global market in three market segments. One which is hospitality and leisure, so that's everything from cruise ships to restaurants, and obviously large hotels all over the world. Some of our clients include, Disney, Carnival Cruises, you name it. Basically, we do business with them, and we export to about 60 countries. We also have a very strong healthcare division, which creates IP, very specialized fabrics for sale in the healthcare sector. One of our major markets there is United States. And we also have a strong corporate division. So everything we do primarily is to do with everything outside the domestic area. So we don't sell anything into the home. I'm pleased to say that I now have two boys in the business as well who've joined me, and so we're very much a family business, but still growing, which is really great. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. It has been quite a journey, hasn't it? And great to hear that the family are now taking the reins over too. That's fantastic. Um, Stephen Thomas, could you please give us an intro to your business and products and services?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you. We are an interior decor printer based in Lancaster in the north of England. We've had a massive transformation of our business from being a conventional rotary and flatbed printer to now 60 to 70% of our business is digital. We print about 2 million meters a year, so we're sort of a small to medium print things, but very much the top end of the business. We've invested heavily in digital. We have 3 large Durst Alpha machines, and we are transforming the business into a pigment-based digital print business from a reactive one because of all the benefits, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. The key driver for us is design. Design drives our business. The print machines prints what we design, and that's our main business. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
Thanks,
Magnus,
Debbie.
over to you.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, so I'm Magnus Mile. I'm a partner here at RA Smart. RA Smart is 50 years old next year, so our anniversary. We basically are split into 2 sides of the business. One side is sales and service of digital systems, which is my primary role. But the other side of the business is we are a commission printer. We started off also as a screen printer, but we embraced digital technology for textiles in the very early days, back in 1996. So we've been printing digitally onto textiles for over 25 years, and we are a commission printer. So we're not vertical, we are printing for other people. Currently, we have in the building over 20 textile digital printers of varying sizes and productivity, covering all ink chemistries for textile applications. So pigment, reactive, acid, and dispersed dyes. Thank you.
Incredible. Thank you. Thank you so much. Denise, could you do this? Could you intro your company, please?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Denise Lam from the Austrian company Lang & Lang, or 360 Decor. We are a manufacturer of high-quality prints for installation in architecture, interior design, and the point of sales. We focus a lot at the hospitality sector at the moment with our 360 Decor brand, and basically start at the design stage together with an architect, interior designer, or a final customer to develop a complete bespoke solution for the interiors applications. It starts with simple wall covering on the walls. It can be textiles. It can be glass or composite panels for bathrooms. So we really try to find special niche solutions wherever we see a demand in the architectural field. We also do some things for outdoor facades in printing. So our main focus is the design part first, and then we also try to find the right solution in the technical field to have a long-lasting and sustainable product that meets the criteria of the client.
That's great. Thank you. I think the message as well, isn't it, from all of those introductions, is how important design is in this process. You know, it starts with design, and technology facilitates that journey. It is quite incredible how quickly all of that's progressing. Thank you to all of you for such great introductions and for joining us today. We have so much experience in the room today. It's an absolute pleasure to speak with you all. We have a lot to get through, so let's kick off with the first question. Let's see. Tony, could you answer the first question, please? What challenges and new opportunities did the COVID-19 pandemic present to your business?
Oh, well, like everybody involved in the industry, COVID has thrown many challenges to us. I don't think I ever thought I'd see something like that in my lifetime, to be fair, but like many people. But interestingly, we had a massive innovation that we've been working on for the last 2 years called Remake. And it is a brilliant platform for our customers to design remotely. So it gives them access to about 3,000 of our designs. We had designers working from home, and they were designing their schemes utilizing our new platform via our website and creating fabrics that they could print directly on our machines. It's the most incredible innovation I think I've seen in many years. Panaz is very proud to be the first company in Europe to offer it. As always, well, not as always, but as in many cases, we are big innovators at Panaz, and this has been incredible innovation. So as far as COVID was concerned, we had people designing remotely and printing on our machinery, and we were shipping to them within 24 hours. It's absolutely incredible. So that was a big plus. But we've also done lots of other things, of course. I mean, we've been able to bring in teams to work safely. Obviously, taking safety into account all the time. A lot of our medical textiles were used in the new hospitals being built to prevent COVID, because we have a lot of antimicrobial fabrics that we print on. So yeah, it's been a massive challenge, but Panaz stepped up to the plate. We were asked to stay open by the NHS to deliver these fabrics, and I think the team did an incredible job, and I'm very proud of them.
That's great answer. And as you say, fantastic to see that all of that technology really came up and delivered the speed and the efficiency in the moment of the crisis. Stephen, could I ask you the same question, please?
Yes. Apart from the obvious thing of having to close the factory for a while and then restart with a great gang of people, I think one of the biggest changes, and following on from what Tony said, we very much rely on export, and we're growing our exports at a fast rate. And we used to rely on shows. What we launched was digital pattern books with a very fast servicing turnaround, a bit like Tony did. And in fact, we sold more designs through the books that we were going to launch at Heimtex than we normally sell at Heimtex, which was quite, so we missed Heimtex this year, obviously. But so what we did, we launched them as digital pattern books. And in fact, we made better contact with our customers. One, you can actually spend more time with them online than you can at a show. And secondly, you can tweak a book if it's not quite right very quickly, and come back with a new book in a couple of days, and you change the thing. So that's been a massive change in our business, and also a massive change in the skill base. So not only having to print things, we've changed our front end with designers and marketing people, and we're a lot stronger on LinkedIn and all the social media. And that's been a big change for our business as what you call a traditional textile business. And I think we'll carry on that route. The question is, what shows will be appropriate for us longer term? I really don't know the answer to that yet. So it's really opened up a massive question mark. So that's us.
It is. It's interesting, isn't it, how we're digitizing the whole process all the way through, and how this capsule of time has really made us all adapt so quickly. But the virtual kind of somehow becomes part of all of our day lives for commercial life as we move forward. Can I ask the same question of Denise, please?
For us, the challenge is really where mostly in the point of sale business with our clients, because from one day to the other, basically the shops were closed. And they were closed for some time. So the products we were about to ship out, they were stuck for a while in our company. So we had some logistic issues with that in the first moment. And now really what the challenge is the longer lead times that you get from your suppliers, because a lot of companies reduced capacities last year. And we're still having troubles with this now. We feel that the reduced capacities now because warehouses are empty. We still try to meet our delivery dates, of course, with our clients. So that requires a lot of flexibility of the whole company, especially of our team. So this is what I really see as a challenge at the moment. New opportunities. I see not only for the business, I see in general that you see new models coming out in all type of industries. The online sector, of course, has become more and more important. We will see how much we will travel in future, because a lot of things can be handled online. I won't say it will stop entirely, because I still appreciate discussing projects through with clients on a personal level. But there's definitely new opportunities, and it's a personal decision how to deal with the crisis and how to benefit from the new opportunities in future.
Great answers. Very, very interesting. Thank you, Denise. Magnus, same question?
Yes, so probably a slightly different perspective here because we're commission printers rather than actually vertical. So we're not creating design and selling it. We are printing for our customer base. And we certainly found that certain sectors of our traditional customer base had a very challenging COVID period and to a certain extent still do. But we definitely saw other sectors starting to have, if you like, a good lockdown period. And, you know, one of those major sectors was certainly our home furnishing customers. So basically what we saw was a change in demand from our customer base for who wanted to utilize our services over this period. I think things probably now have settled down slightly more, and we're back to more of our even sort of distribution for our various market sectors. But it certainly has shown that the home furnishing sector for us, in terms of our customer base and the demand for that sector, has grown quite significantly over this 12-month period.
Great, thank you. Fantastic answers. That's great. The next question, how have you all adapted your supply chain to protect your business post-pandemic? Just moving on from, a couple of you have mentioned that you've already done various things. Let's ask this first question back to Denise again, actually. Thank you.
Well, it's what I explained earlier, since we face a little problems with our suppliers to get the products in the right time. What we try to do is put a little bit more material on stock, and also try to inform and speak to our clients early on to accelerate decisions, so we can get the materials here even if sizes are not clear yet, or the design is not clear yet. We try to make a decision together with them on the material as such, and with this it's easier then to plan the project and make sure that at the end of the day everybody is happy with it. At the same time, of course, we see that we need to be very flexible in our daily operation. So what we try to bring on board is a few more people that work with us on a project basis. So we have I would say, a small core team, and then a few extended or people within an extended team to make sure once we really have the work and we have a lot to do, that we have those people at our disposal for execution.
That's great. Great answers. Thank you. Same question over to Stephen.
Yes, I think there's a mixture between pandemic and Brexit in the UK. So we've had a mixture of both, which have I think the Brexit's been harder than pandemic. However, that's a personal view. I think we built up a stocks for a Brexit issue, which actually helped us through the pandemic. Our supply chains are still incredibly weak out of Europe. Particularly we buy a lot of linen-based cloths. It's because we're at the high end of the market. Really weak market at the moment. The UK weavers that traditionally have done very well are really struggling at the moment. So our plans are to try and build some key strategic partnerships to help them through it. Well, I mean, we may even look at getting involved in weaving ourselves directly as a group, as an option, because we want to protect wherever the artisan skill base is. We print a lot in Europe. We're very strong in the Belgian, printing out the Belgian market for our linens. But our biggest issue at the moment is the weakness of the supply chain for fabrics. As far as dyes and chemicals are concerned, our digital dyes are fine. Our conventional dyes, reactives, are again a major problem because of out of China. In fact, they're even trying to remake them back into Europe now, into Portugal and places like that. So I think a lot of these problems are going to be long term and will be structural as well. So I don't think the problem's going to go away for a while.
There's work to do there then.
Yep, yeah. Always is.
Magnus, same question to you, please.
Yes, I think I can pretty much mirror exactly what the previous answers were. Quite frankly, we've had to increase our stock levels to make sure that we can seamlessly carry on with producing our products for our customers. Yeah, we have certainly had challenges with the supply of both textiles and indeed actually some digital inks as well. And the only way to cover that is really for us to actually to carry larger stocks and make sure that we can satisfy the demand. There still seems to be a problem, whether it is a Brexit related or whether it is COVID related. We're not quite sure, but hopefully things will start to improve. But it has certainly been a challenge, yes.
Okay. Tony, over to you.
Right.
Tony,
Yes. Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was on mute. Yeah.
Sorry.
Basically, I think Panaz was very fortunate in some respects because we came into the pandemic with large stocks. One of the things that we do here is that we provide products for quite large projects, so we're always pretty well stocked in everything that we have. So on our base cloths, we hold thousands of meters of stock. And of course, if we're asked to do a 10,000 meter run or something like that, then we do tend to have all the inks on hand, and we do carry a lot of other basic substrates. So we didn't really have any problems in that respect. And in fact, during the pandemic, we bought a new machine because one of our suppliers, machinery suppliers, had a machine available, and we were able to buy one at quite a good price. So we decided to buy one, and they brought it in, and they came in with their technicians as well, and we installed it during the pandemic, which I suppose was quite unusual, but we managed to do that. The biggest problem that we've got at the moment is large increases in raw material costs and transport costs. I'm not sure whether they're associated with COVID or with Brexit. Brexit is, Steve touched on it. Brexit is just a complete pain in the proverbial. It's made life very difficult for us in the UK to get our products around Europe. We thought that we were really well prepared, and I suppose in comparison to a lot of companies, we were very well prepared, but we still had major shocks along the way in terms of how we could do our business in Europe. We've now come through that, and we've got certain things in place that have worked quite well. So I think in terms of the pandemic, we felt that communication was a very important part of our relationship with our suppliers. So we kept in very close contact, but like Steve said, we're very concerned about some of our suppliers, and obviously there is risk involved. So but we look at it very carefully, and I think we do a lot of planning in that area. So I'm not too concerned. But the biggest problem is really massive increases in cost.
Thank you to all of you for answering that question. I'm sure it's impacting everybody in our industry, regardless of which products they're manufacturing or printing. Over to the next question then. Is reshoring happening, and have you experienced an increase in local manufacturing over the last year? And I guess we'll go in reverse. Tony, I'm going to come back to you and ask you that question. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, I think
Sorry.
actually, I think actually I think there probably would have been a little bit more of it if the pandemic hadn't happened. I think it's restricted quite a lot of investment short term because people of the uncertainty. But I think there will be. Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting what Steve was saying about perhaps that WG will be interested in starting weaving. Yeah, I mean, we have a very globally based supply chain, and we still feel that's a very important part of what we do. But there are political risks around the world at the moment. that we have to take into consideration. And I guess the more that we can do at home, the more we reduce that risk. But of course, there could be an increase in cost. So I'm pretty open-minded about it, and I'd like to see more reshoring. There's been a lot of discussion about it over quite a few years now. I remember going to a meeting at the Institute of Dyers and Finishers in London quite a few years ago now, when there was a lot of discussion about reshoring. Didn't really happen, but I think that there's possibility for it now. Yes.
Great, thank you. Magnus, your view on that question, your experience?
Yes. So for our customer base, which tends to be smaller customers, shorter runs, etc., we probably are seeing a little bit of that, and a little certainly an increase in the interest in UK manufacturing across our customer base. So I think it is happening to a small degree at the lower level of productivity levels, and I think it will continue to be the case. So on the back of pigment technology, which we introduced here a few years ago, we have now become actually manufacturers ourselves in making certain products for some of our customers, because our customers wanted to produce product here in the UK, but couldn't really find anywhere for them to go in terms of manufacturing that product. So we actually decided to set up a small facility to allow that to happen. I mean, that is on the household textile sector rather than the home furnishing sector. But yes, we are starting to see it to a degree.
Great news, great news. Stephen, over to you with that question.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of interest in moving fashion back here, but the problem is they're still not looking at the life cycle cost of a product. It's the price per meter they want to buy at, so I think that's going to restrict it. But the real driver is on the interior decor side, is the country of origin issue, where there is a real advantage if they want to export back to Europe or getting it manufactured in the UK. And will make it better. Has there big changes? No, not really, because a lot of our customers are still recovering from the pandemic and are being quite cautious about new collections and getting the businesses back. And also, they've obviously lost quite a lot of cash during the process. So the recovery for the new collections is slower than the market recovery. So people will eventually, I think 2022 is going to be a big year for new products, when people have got the cash back in the business and the confidence. So really it's country of origin, which is really a Brexit related thing rather than a market related thing. Yeah.
Interesting to watch how that's all going to pan out, isn't it? Definitely. Denise, what's your experience over in Austria?
Well, I can basically speak for ourselves. We never really had an intention to set up a production anywhere else except for Austria. So we really try to focus with our manufacturing here in Austria, since we feel we have a lot of benefits with it from a technical side of things here. For all the international companies that have different manufacturers in different parts of the world, I think the last 1 year, 1.5, they really have been a nightmare. I know from some of our business partners, since hardly any travels were possible, they really struggled with getting on in their product development, or in general with everything, with deliveries. It really got stuck at some point. But for us, the reshoring is already happening because we never went anywhere else with our production. The only thing we have is sales offices in other regions of the world. And yeah, we will still be an international company, but focus on a local manufacturing here in Austria.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much for answering that question. Denise, we'll stay with you actually for the next question. Do you plan to expand your digital production capacity and in the near future, and why?
we are constantly doing that. We've always been some sort of a beta tester for some machine manufacturers, especially for Durst, basically since the 90s. And we really try to stay on that part because digital world is changing very fast, basically on a daily basis, and we always want to be up to date with our machinery, with our equipment, with software, hardware, whatever is related to that. And production capacity we try to improve, and especially time-wise, to make sure we meet delivery times. Of course, time is always related to costs. So whenever you can improve your capacity, then you also save costs at some point. From a technical point of view, we would like to do more in the outdoor area in future. So that's something which we are going to expand over the next couple of months. To bring a product for aluminium and other substrates for the outdoor application areas.
Great, thank you. So you're just constantly evolving and constantly looking to adapt and embrace new technologies to create new products, I guess, as this whole industry evolves at such a fast pace. Stephen, could I ask you the same question, please? Do you plan to expand your digital production capacities?
A lot of capacity. So it's not a capacity. The big change is moving the product from reactive to pigment. So we will be converting our machines progressively. So we have 2 reactive, 1 pigment at the moment. We want 2 pigments, and I think following the sustainability route, we will go 100% pigment in a couple of years' time. Our machines are all coming to about the 7-year period, and that will be our logical next investment site anyway. But it will be investing in similar technology. The key investment, which is the next question, is really the link of the digital print machines into our customers at our scale of business, which we're investing in serious ERP on our site to be able to do that. And I think that's the big change in our type of business in middle market, where we've got the technology, but we need to create the customer link better in our markets. So I've answered 2 questions in one, really, but that's where we're investing at the moment, 2/3 in information technology now. So
3/4 of a million in information technology. Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for your answers.
Absolutely. That's the future. Yeah.
Magnus?
Yes,
Magnus,
the short answer is yes. We are investing in. Yeah, we are investing in new technology. We want to increase our capacity. So we have a machine coming to us very shortly, actually, an additional Robustelli Mona Lisa. So that will then be 4 that we'll have downstairs. And in essence, that will replace a couple of our less productive machines and take up the same floor space. So fundamentally, we're just going to be increasing our capacity from that perspective. We'll also be looking at new technology on our wallpaper side of things as well. So yes, as the other panelists, it's a continual cycle of investment in terms of keeping up with the technology. And just very briefly, wearing my other hat in terms of sales of systems over the past sort of 6 or 8 months, even during the pandemic, we have never been busier selling hardware. So we are selling more digital textile systems than we have ever sold in our 25-year history. I think at one stage we had over 40 machines to install. So we really are seeing across the board a lot of investment in digital technology, and that is primarily on pigment technology and dye sublimation technology.
Thank you. It is incredible how fast we're making this seismic shift now, aren't we? And there's no question, I don't think, that COVID has definitely accelerated the adoption of digital technologies. Tony, could you answer that question for me, please? Do you plan to expand digital production?
Yes, sure, Debbie. Basically, Panaz is quite different to certainly to Magnus and to Steve. in that we are very much B2C. So, we're dealing directly, similar to Denise, actually, that, we're selling directly to architects, designers, and obviously to consumers in the contract sector. And of course, the big thing for us is about speed. And I mentioned earlier that we invested in a brand new platform called Remake, which allows personalization or customization of our products to our customers, and that was a massive investment and took over 3 years to develop. But we have nearly 1,000 users on that platform now. Now that doesn't sound very much, but obviously we went from a standing start at the beginning of the pandemic to where we are now, and all our salespeople were basically grounded. So we've done all that really online, and we've sold quite a few thousand meters now of customized product that was developed on that platform. And I can only see that increasing. The other side of, we've also developed wider width formats. So the new machine that we had delivered in the middle of last year was a wide width, and we see that side developing. We've just actually released a wide width collection based on that format, because we invested in that technology. So yeah, I mean, there's been some big investments as far as we're concerned in digital platforms, digital manufacturing, and we certainly see ourselves at the forefront of that. And long may it continue. I love to hear what Denise is doing with other substrates, like aluminium and things. I think that there are so many possibilities. It's very, very exciting, and it's wonderful to be involved in the industry at this time.
You're absolutely right, Tony. Yeah, I mean, I've been excited about digital textiles for a very long time, but I've never been as excited as I am right now. We really are seeing just this incredible adoption as all the technologies kind of come together, which will lead on to in our next question, actually. Do customers demand design diversity alongside an ever faster speed of production? And do you plan to invest in workflow automation in order to make the customer's journey, the production journey, the whole journey easier, from whether it's coming in through e-commerce or whether it's coming in as an order into the factory? Magnus, can I ask you to answer this question first, please?
Yeah, in terms of workflow, it's not something that we've looked at this stage here in RA Smart. I'm certainly aware a lot of my customers that we have sold systems to have heavily invested in that workflow e-commerce model. It's not something that we have done up until this point, but I'm sure it is something that we are going to have a look at in the future to make the production process as smooth as possible. So yeah, some of the platforms out there seem extremely sophisticated, and fundamentally the web to print technology is something that we are going to have to keep an eye on.
Okay, great. Denise, could you answer that question for me? Thank you, Magnus.
Well, of course, we are working with some sort of optimized workflow with things like color management to make sure the color on the computer or the color the customer sees on the computer turns out to be right at the end. But since we are only or like 90% working in a bespoke field, for us, the design is crucial, and each project or each product is different all the time. So we really require personal consulting to the client. We do 3D renders or graphic proposals to our projects first. And only after that, we can basically benefit from the optimized workflow, in a sense, what I just mentioned with color management and these kind of things. But the whole process before, we cannot really standardize, because each graphic, each design, each customer is always completely different.
That's a great answer. Thank you so much. Stephen, can we just pop back to you on this question? I know you kind of
Yeah,
partly answered
certainly.
it.
Yeah.
Would you like to add any more? I'd
There's
be quite
two.
interested to know how
Yeah.
whether transparency is becoming an issue as well, whether we're using workflow automation to get closer to our customers, to get closer to our supply chain.
It's two sides to it. One is to take stock out of the process, which I think is absolutely critical longer term, because we've all invested heavily in a new technology of printing, digital printing. What we haven't done is use it as a different benefit. So we're using it as a technological benefit. We've reduced our run lengths. What we haven't done is really, in our industry, forget about the areas which are bureau based, where they're actually doing it. In our type of industry, where we're supplying other customers in the market, we haven't used it to work it down that far, and I think that's where we're going to start trialing it, how we can offer capacity on a very short lead time on a range of cloths that the customers can dial straight in. It's a bit like the spoon flower model, but for volume manufacturing. The other side is that we are working with customers where we can bespoke colorways for different markets now. So if you take people who are launching collections, because they're launching less pattern books now, what you're giving them the opportunity, the American market is a perfect market where we do a lot of work in. The colorway selection for the American market will be different from the French and German markets. So what you do is that you bespoke those colorways on a digital book and then offer that into them on a short lead time. So there's lots of tricks you can play with the same technology in your factory in Lancaster, and that's where we're really interested in developing with our customers. The key is the information flow from the customer. Absolutely vital, and the key is you never want to touch a design when you take it in from your customer into your system. The more you have to play around with it, the more it affects your fast turnaround. So that's where we're working on. It'll take us a while, and I'm sure we'll get most of it wrong, but the long-term objective is to take stock out of the system and offer real bespoke colorways for different markets for our customers.
Thank you. Great answer, Stephen. It really is just about removing those touch points wherever we can, isn't it, really? If we have to manufacture at incredible speed and not create waste through the poor transfer of information, really. Tony, over to you with that question, please.
Well, I mean, very simply, Debbie, I don't see the point in investing heavily in advanced digital manufacturing unless you're actually investing in the other side of it, which is all the information technology. So we've invested hugely in that side of things, and we're automating as much as we possibly can. I think that what we're heading towards is actually no human hand touching the textile until it actually gets to the customer. That's what we certainly want. In terms of customer ordering the product in the first place directly digitally, to us processing the orders, to us manufacturing the product, and for us delivering the product. I basically want to take out all human hands, apart from the design situation, of course. But then, of course, there is the opportunity of maybe even looking at AI in that area. Now, we employ some fantastically talented designers, so I wouldn't like them to get the wrong end of the idea that we're not going to continue with that. But certainly, I see that all sorts of things are going to happen over the next few years, and it's very exciting. And of course, the other thing about digital technology is the amount of data that we actually develop, and that data can be used as well in all sorts of areas. So, yeah, I mean, it's again, I'm really excited by the whole thing. We're actually in the middle of a management conference at the moment, and yesterday I've never seen so many initiatives coming through from my management teams based on information technology, and we've got to make sure that we're in a position to be able to allow them to develop those areas. So yeah, it's really good, really good.
Very interesting time, isn't it? And I think what your answers highlight as well, the difference between your answers and Stephen's, how unique all of our businesses are within this industry, and how important it is to be able to fine tune all of these technologies and collect and use the data and the AI that's purpose built for your business in order to make those improvements. It's a very, very, very interesting time. I'm just going to move on to the next question now, which is a big one. Colour management can be a big issue in the textile industry, and as we move on to using faster data, speed of manufacture, we really have to get this right, otherwise we're creating waste. So we're increasing waste if we're using poor colour management. I'd like to ask all of you, How do you control sampling in printed production to increase efficiency and reduce waste resources? Stephen, can I come to you first on this question, please?
Yeah, it's quite remarkable the difference between a reactive and a pigment machine, and how it has a massive improvement in your efficiency. We take it takes us a third of the time to get a colour right on a pigment machine as in a reactive. And you think of a reactive machine, you've got to steam and wash it as well. So if you think of the energy requirements to get to the product right, and the fabric you waste, so our OEE, operating efficiency of our pigment machines, significantly better, and we're not brilliant at it yet. We've got lots to improve on. The other thing is the technology improvements in RIP software and things like that are actually improving that predictability on cloth. And if you're fairly sure that you've got stable cloth and stable dyes, we want to get to a point where it's a WYSIWYG. We just pass the product off and print it without checking it for volume. Now, we're not there yet, because that's a big gamble. But if we can get to that stage, we're automatically going to reduce our waste as well. So that's our challenge in our business: improving RIP software, moving to the pigment technology, and improving our own skill base. But it's going there, and it really works well.
Working hard on that. Everybody is, aren't they?
Yeah.
Thank you. Great answers. Magnus, can I come over to you on that question, please?
Yes, so I think color profiling is absolutely key. We're reliant on good RIP software for sure, but we're also very reliant on the skill of our operators and designers to actually create reproduce color profiles that we can rely on day in, day out. I think we have probably over 45 to 50 textile bases that we print on as a mission printer, and it simply isn't practical that we actually sample every design before we print the production. So we are very much reliant on the RIP software, the color profiling, and the skill of our operators to actually know what that end result might be with whichever process we're using, whether it be reactive, acid, disperse, or pigments. So absolutely key, and we like to think we get it right most of the time, but I'm sure we're not getting it right at 100% of the time.
Yeah, colour really is a fine science, isn't it? We are getting short of time. We're into our last 2 or 3 minutes now. Denise, could you answer that question for me, please?
Well, for us, the topic of colors, of course, is very important because it needs to fit the overall design scheme. The way we try to reduce waste here is to get a basic understanding of the color first, like to get a RAL reference or Pantone reference or just anything already from the client, because that, of course, reduces some possible samples in the first instance, and then we really try to match just the color first with printing some different small squares on the overall width of the roll, for example, send this to the customer, put it in the right room or next to the chair or wherever it comes at the end, and let them make the decision on the right color, and then we add the design to it and make a final sample probably, and then we are basically done. So a lot of waste we can use already if we talk about a general color reference via RAL or Pantone or NCS or whatever is provided to us.
That's great answer. Tony, do you have a quick 30 seconds on color?
Well, I think it's a massive subject.
It's a huge subject.
I think that color management is so important, and obviously I echo everybody else's views on RIP software. But I mean, how everybody else is doing it with different dye stuffs and everything, Magnus, I'm amazed. I mean, we obviously specialize in sublimatic disperse. And we have enough problems. If we move one design to another machine, we even have problems. So it's color management is absolutely massive. I think actually, Debbie, what you should do is just have one session on color management, and I think that would be a really good idea.
We could have a week on colour management. We could all go. Yeah, we could all go and visit Stephen and Stephen with Magnus and have a week on colour management. Everybody, thank you so much for your time. I have not got through all of our questions. We managed to get through 6, and we had another couple of really great questions. Fantastic answers, fantastic insights. Thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and all of those years of experience with us today, which you really do need to be top of your game in textiles. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.